cabbage, cabbage, cabbage.
What is a video game? Have you ever tried to define this term? It is impossible. In your own words, define the term video game. A form of media consumable via special electronics that read data into a screen and changes what appears on screen according to the consumer's inputs, with the media in question featuring a sort of gameplay loop where the consumer is usually repeating a pattern during their experience. I don't think my phone is all that special, but that can play games. Good job mentioning the gameplay loop though, I think you're the only one that did that. Piece of media where audience's choice can influence the experience. I like this one. But what does influence mean? I can influence the experience of reading a book if I burn the book. Interactive audio-visual piece of media. A YouTube video is an audio-visual experience, and I can interact with it by pausing and unpausing it.
Stop it, don't get ahead of my script, JoJo Man 1.
A game on a video screen. A screen? So if I hook up my Switch to a projector and project it down onto my lawn, it's not a game anymore? I like the simplicity though, simple is good. Astral Coconut. Barely. A game played on an electronic device. Beautiful, elegant, well put. What is a game? If you were to actually Google the definition of video game, the results you'd get do vary a little bit, but in general, most definitions seem to follow this basic criteria. A video game is electronic, it is controlled by a player to manipulate an image, and it is a game. Have you ever tried to define the word game? It's impossible and makes it super messy when figuring out what qualifies as a video game. Game, a form of play or sport, especially a competitive one played according to rules and decided by skill, strength, or luck. Okay, visual novels. When you talk about the definition of a video game, someone is inevitably going to bring up visual novels, and that person is probably a weeb. Many visual novels feature no mechanical challenge. For many of them, dialogue choices are the most interaction you will have, and most of the time, those don't even change the outcome of the narrative. A choose-your-own-adventure book has more meaningful choices in it than many visual novels. Are visual novels video games? Mario Maker is a video game, right? But that's just a video game where you make video games. Sure, you can play the games you make and download other people's games that they've made, but I make video games using Unreal Engine, which is also a video game making tool, where I can play the games I made and download other people's games and play them in my copy of Unreal Engine. Is Unreal Engine a video game? UDraw is literally just an art program that I have on my Wii U. It comes in a video game box, I play it with my video game controller. Is UDraw a video game? And if UDraw is a video game, what stops Photoshop from being a video game? Is it that UDraw is played on a dedicated games console, whereas Photoshop is used on either your PC or your phone?
Cabbage, 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 cabbage.
Let me try to make sense of the ambiguity of language by talking about driveways. It's the small road that leads to your home where you park your car, right? Yes, it is. But the word driveway actually predates the invention of the car by a lot. Before automobiles, when we still had means to transport things like wagons and carriages, private roads were added to property specifically for the purpose of accommodating vehicles, so that they could more easily offload cargo, drop off or pick up people, deliver things, and these private roads were called driveways because they are the paths or the ways which are designated to be driven upon. Then, when the idea of automobiles and the idea of individual private transportation became more standardized, these driveways were the natural choice for where to park your vehicle because they were the only location on your private property that was specifically made to hold vehicles. Now, in the present day, parking is pretty much all we use our driveways for, and yet we never changed the name. And this is good. If we decided to alter the term driveway in 2023 just because the word doesn't make complete sense, that would just introduce confusion and annoyance into our lives for no reason or benefit. And this is also why we shouldn't apply the term video game to Photoshop or Unreal Engine or Google Maps or online quizzes or even something like Wordle. Even if they could fit several textbook definitions of the word, they simply don't follow the spirit of the word that our culture has come to understand. Why isn't Wordle a video game? It clearly is one, but something like that is just never going to be commonly recognized as what is considered to be a video game. It's never gonna make it onto GameSpot's list of the most popular PC games of 2022, and my mother does not sign into Wordle every day thinking to herself how excited she is to play her favorite online puzzle video game. Now, if GameSpot were to include Wordle on that list, and if my mother does identify Wordle as a video game, that's okay too, because language has elements that can be both studied as an objective science, as well as elements that make it more similar to a subjective art form. I don't know that we have too much to gain as a society to try and figure out for each and every instance what does and does not objectively qualify to fit within the margins of the definition of this word, because that seems like it might be literally an impossible, unachievable goal. And these blurry lines are only going to get more and more blurred as time goes on, and as our society moves more and more towards media and entertainment to fill our time, and as technology gets more and more powerful and capable. I know I could be running the risk of sounding like I'm saying language is useless and the definition of video game doesn't matter, and that's not what I'm saying at all. Even if words are arbitrary, it's still important that we have them to distinguish things, even if the lines between words aren't always crystal clear. I love interactive entertainment that challenges me, educates me, and connects me to people. And video games is the best term we have to bundle that idea into one cohesive, easily understandable thing. So while I don't think it's necessarily possible for me to tell you down to the exact letter what a video game is, I don't think that that's as important as my ability to tell you that I love video games and that video games are important. I hope I was able to keep that relatively light and fun, and not overly abstract or esoteric. But anyway, join me in the next video when we will discuss how many characters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate are willing to punch a girl. Hope you enjoy your day.